Oh yeah. If you love barbecue, you have to try this. It's like glass. It's crispy, it's chewy and tender. Fruity, salty, crispy, porky. I love it. Welcome to Waliseo, Ecuador. Now, Waliseo is just 30 minutes outside of Cuenca, and while everyone raves about the food in Cuenca, and deservedly so, I think the food here is fantastic. There's such a dedication to traditional Ecuadorian cuisine, and everything here is delicious. So much so that I actually think Waliseo should be a UNESCO heritage site for food. You come out here, you will not be disappointed. And that's why Waliseo is one of Andreas's most popular tours. If you're looking to come out here, he knows where to take you. Now, I've never taken a tour with him, but we've come out here many times. And so this is a highlight reel of all my favorite spots in Waliseo, and especially where to eat. Today is the day. I am so excited to share with you the best cuy in Ecuador. That's right, you can get it in Quito, you can get it in Baños, you can even get it in Cuenca. However, the best cuy in Ecuador is in none of those places. And we're about to have Mrs. Rosario's cuy. You can get a small one here for $10. She also does roast chicken, nothing else. This is what she specializes in. She doesn't do the sides, but fortunately, right next to her are Maria and Narcisa, and they've got all the sides. So I've got potatoes that have been cooked in a pepe de sambal sauce, which is a pumpkin seed ají. I've got mote, and then I've also got chupi, which is a type of corn with fava beans. And of course, you know, I also have a side of separate ají. I am so excited for this. So cuy is one of the most traditional Ecuadorian foods. It was considered to be a gift from the gods by the Inca and Cañari people. And today, Ecuadorians have still held that tradition. It is revered as something that you have at a special occasion. It might be a baptism, it might be someone graduating from college, but also sometimes families will come here and have cuy together. And that's what I've seen here today. You've seen groups of people. A small one is $10 and you think, oh, that's such a good deal. But actually there's not a lot of meat on a cuy. And that's why they also roast the chicken as well, because that's more economical for what you're getting for the price. Now she marinates this only in garlic and salt. And then as they cook it, they baste it with achiote oil. Oh my God. Let me tell you something. Cooked over charcoal, it has so much flavor. And you know what? Other than this little foot right here, I don't know if you could really, most people could tell if it wasn't chicken. It's more like chicken and rabbit mixed together. I'm telling you, even if you're a little uneasy, you have to try cuy. You have to give it a shot. It's so good. The meat is tender, and this charcoal flavor is so good. The skin is so crispy. If you love barbecue, you have to try this. Oh. All right, let's dig right in. I'm gonna go for some of the pork, and I think this looks like the shoulder.
Yep.
Oh my God, this is so good. I have eaten pork all over the world. I've eaten roast pork all over the world. It is not as good as hornado in Ecuador. It is so flavorful. So this is a marinated pork, and I think that makes all the difference because you get that rich pork flavor, and everyone has their own recipe. But this one is just super flavorful. You can taste the spices. It just goes so well with the pork. Very flavorful, not dry at all. I would come to Ecuador just to eat the pork. This is a la pingacho, and it is basically a pan-fried potato cake. And it's mashed potatoes that are handmade and then pan-fried The color of this potato has not been altered at all. There are over 200 types of potatoes in Ecuador, and so many different colors, many different textures. Some are light, fluffy, some are sweeter than others. These are fantastic. It's like the best potato you're ever gonna have. This is really good. Just very filling. And when you come here, you should look at how many lapingachos they're giving out to people, because you're gonna want to choose someone who gives a few more. We're going to have some morocho, and then also the thing to have for breakfast here is actually these tortillas. What makes this special here is that they cook them in this clay pot or pan, and it's called a tiesto. And it gets super hot, and that's important because these tortillas are actually not cooked in oil at all. They don't stick to the pan. It is that hot. And then they make these by hands, and they make them to order. So when you come here, look for someone who's making them to order, not who's just reheating them. This pan gives them this just like nice crust because it's so hot. So I am trying 3 different kinds: wheat, choclo, and maize, which is what we would know as hominy. We also have this drink, the morocho, which is another type of corn drink, similar to what you might know as horchata in Mexico, but here they're going to use corn. You'll have some cinnamon, you might have some star anise, some clove. Everyone has their own recipe, and so growing up, I've been told you only go to one vendor and you don't go anywhere else because everyone has their own recipe and you get used to that recipe. Oh wow, it's very good, not too sweet at all. It's really perfect in this weather. It's just like warm, comforting, has like a spicy kind of flavor. It's really delicious. So, they're called like the pancakes of Ecuador, similar to what we would have in North America. However, there's no maple syrup here. The idea is you eat these two things together. You have a little bit of their tortilla, and then you wash it down with the morocho. So this is the wheat, and it tastes a lot like toast. And actually, if you look closely, you'll see that it has cheese on the inside. Fresh, salty cheese. It's like a breakfast cheese toast. Moving on to choclo, which should be a little bit sweeter. So you can already notice from the beginning, it has a completely different texture, not as crispy. You're using corn, very, very soft, similar to what we would know as a pancake. Very sweet, like a sweet corn flavor. And then finally, the maize. Also, not as hard as the wheat, but also not as flappy as the choclo. It's pretty good. But I have to say, without a doubt, the choclo is best. It's sweet, soft, like super fluffy, and it just goes so well with the morocho. It's really good. You have to try it. So when we talk about pork, there are the big 3. Number 1, there's hornado. That is El Rey. That is the king of pork. It is whole roasted pork. If you're gonna have the best kind, it's roasted in a brick oven. Then we've got sancocho. Sancocho is pork that is simmered in its own lard with spices in these big copper pots. And today in Wallaceo, we're about to try number 3. That is the most famous for this area. It's hard to get elsewhere. Sometimes you'll see it in northern Ecuador, but it's very, very rare to see outside of Wallaceo. And it is called chancho a la Barbosa. Now, Barbosa was a man, legend says, that he was from Argentina. He came up to Ecuador. He saw this meat and it didn't look familiar to him. He didn't see any familiar food from Argentina. So when he settled in, he actually taught locals the gaucho way to cook meat. And that was at the time to break open an animal and to put it on a cross over embers. And so over time, this tradition, this method of cooking pork has evolved. And now instead of being on a cross, it's actually more like on an open spit that they can, with a handle, rotate. It's almost like a rotisserie. So it's the best of both worlds. Now the best thing about this is that everything cooks evenly. It cooks low and slow over those embers. If you're coming to Gualaceo, the best time to come is right at lunch. Don't come beforehand because they're still cooking the pork. And we are at Doña Rebe. Now, we don't know if this is the best one, but every time we've been to Gualaceo, this place is packed. It's noon, this place is packed. And so we got this plate of chancho. Chancho means pork. It's just one of many names for pork. And so you might be thinking, as I'm saying this, oh, wait a minute, what about fritada? Fritada, which is so common in Quito and you can find it elsewhere. Yes, fritada is a type of pork. However, it belongs in the sancocho family. So when you make sancocho and you just simmer it in this lard and spices, you get sancocho. If you continue to simmer it until you get those crispy bits, that's how you get fritada. All right, so we got this whole plate for $5. It has half a pound of pork meat. It's got some pork skin. I see the yapingacho, which is this potato cake. We've got some mote, which is hominy, and just a tiny little bit of salad to say there's salad on the plate. And you know, we are in Gualaceo, and so there's no bottled ají on the table. That's right. We have this house-made ají. Look, you can see that color, that charcoal flavored pork. I'm so excited for this. Oh yeah. Nothing beats charcoal. Nothing beats that like low and slow flavor. And then you've got some of that crispy skin. This is the cuerito, or this crispy pork skin. It's like glass. Now, 100%, you need to come here and try the chancho a la Barbosa. But they also have several other traditional dishes that you don't see everywhere. So they've got caldo de gallina, which is a soup made with hen, so chicken hen. They also have cuy. They have cuy. They've got roasted chicken on the rotisserie. They also have papas con cuero, which is potato with tripe. And then they also have cecina. So this spot is, when you're driving into Gualaceo, on the right, after you pass the Macana Museum, the Inca Textile Museum, you're gonna come here and it's on the way into Gualaceo town. It's just on the right-hand side, just this little spot, and you'll know it because not only will you see the pork, but you're gonna see a parking lot that's completely full. Couldn't leave without trying the cecina. So this is thinly sliced pork tenderloin. They marinate it and then they hang it out to dry, so it dries over the embers, that coal. So it has this marinated flavor, and I guess the flavor of the charcoal, that's what I'm guessing. It is so tender. All right. Oh yeah. You should try this. So good. Very tender, has that charcoal flavor, marinated pork. It's so good. I'm so glad I tried it. This place, 2 o'clock. Half the pig is gone. The people here are running off their feet. This place is so busy. So I'd say you gotta come here probably at 12 and don't come past 3. You really gotta time this place well. We have one last stop, but it's actually going to be one of the most delicious ones. The interesting thing about these communities is that not only are they keeping creative art traditions alive, a lot of the culinary traditions and traditional foods you still find here and are very common. And the number one thing I wanted to try was Rosero. Now, Rosero isn't from here, but it's probably one of the few places in Ecuador you're going to be able to find this drink. It's made with white corn flour, simple syrup, and then you have a number of fruits. So you have a couple that I don't know what the English names are, but it's babacao, chomburo, then you also have naranjilla, you also have orange juice, and pineapple. And it's a cold drink, and I think it's going to have an interesting texture. It's a little bit thick, very fruity. Almost tastes like if you took like one of those Del Monte fruit cups and put it into a blender with some cinnamon star anise. It's like a drink and a dessert at the same time. It's pretty good.